Admiral Hyun Woo stood on the bridge of his massive warship, the Sovereign's Wrath. The ship was 3 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to destroy planets. He looked out at the stars through the giant window at the front of the bridge. 6 months ago, his fleet had helped crush the human homeworld called Earth. It had been easy. The humans had fought hard, but their technology was weak compared to the mighty Caltharian Empire. Now Hyun Woo was on patrol duty in the outer edge of space. His job was to find any humans who had escaped and make sure they stayed defeated. The Empire did not like loose ends. Every species they conquered had to stay conquered. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Tae-ho from his station. "I'm picking up ships on the sensors. They look like human vessels." Hyun Woo smiled. More refugees to deal with. "How many ships, Lieutenant?" 7 ships, sir. They're moving slowly. It looks like they're carrying civilians." "Good. Signal the fleet. We'll surround them and demand surrender." Another easy day. Hyun Woo had done this many times before. The human refugees always gave up without a fight. They had learned that fighting the Empire was useless. The Caltharian fleet moved forward. Hyun Woo's ship led the way, followed by 2 smaller warships and several patrol boats. They had enough firepower to destroy a small moon. 7 refugee ships would be no problem at all. As they got closer, Tae-ho studied his screens more carefully. "Sir, I'm getting strange readings from one of the human ships. The energy patterns don't match anything in our database." "Explain," Hyun Woo said. He walked over to look at the sensor display. "This ship here," Tae-ho pointed to one dot on the screen. "It's giving off energy readings that are different. Our computers can't identify the power source. It's not nuclear fusion like normal human ships use." Hyun Woo frowned. After conquering hundreds of different species, the Empire had seen every type of ship technology that existed. Their databases contained information about every known power source in the galaxy. If their computers couldn't identify something, that was very unusual. "Maybe their engines are damaged," Hyun Woo said. "Refugee ships are often in bad condition. Keep monitoring them." The Caltharian fleet spread out in a wide circle around the human ships. This was standard procedure. It prevented the humans from escaping and showed them how hopeless their situation was. "Open a communication channel," Hyun Woo ordered. The main screen flickered and showed the bridge of one of the human ships. A woman in a worn military uniform appeared. She had short black hair and tired eyes. Behind her, Hyun Woo could see other humans working at old, patched-up equipment. "I am Admiral Hyun Woo of the Caltharian Imperial Fleet," he said in his most commanding voice. "You are trespassing in Imperial space. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded." The human woman looked directly at him. "I am Captain So-min of the refugee ship Defiance. We're just trying to find a new home. We don't want any trouble." "You should have thought about that before your species decided to resist the Empire," Hyun Woo replied. "Now you will submit to Imperial authority. Lower your shields and shut down your engines." So-min glanced at something off-screen, then looked back at Hyun Woo. "I'm afraid I can't do that, Admiral. We have something important to protect." Hyun Woo's eyes narrowed. "You are in no position to negotiate, human. You have 7 small ships. I have a battle fleet. Surrender now, or we will take your ships by force." "Sir," Tae-ho called out urgently, "that strange ship is powering up something. Energy levels are increasing rapidly." On the communication screen, So-min seemed to make a decision. "I'm sorry, Admiral, but you don't understand what you're dealing with. Jin-ae, activate Protocol 7. A young human woman appeared briefly on the screen. "Protocol 7 activated, Captain." Suddenly, every alarm on the Sovereign's Wrath started ringing. The lights on the bridge flickered. Tae-ho was staring at his instruments in shock. "Sir, something impossible is happening," Tae-ho said, his voice shaking. "Space itself is changing around that ship." Hyun Woo looked at the main display screen. Where the mysterious human ship had been, space now looked wrong. It was hard to describe what he was seeing. The stars behind the ship seemed to bend and twist. The ship itself appeared to be shifting in and out of reality. "What kind of technology is that?" Hyan-Wu demanded. "I don't know, sir," Taeho replied. "It's not in any of our databases. The energy readings are off the scale. And, sir, there's something else." "What?" "I'm detecting more ships coming out of hyperspace. A lot more ships." On the communication screen, Captain So-Min's tired expression had changed. Now she looked confident, almost sad. "Admiral, I tried to warn you. Not all humans fled to the outer rim when Earth fell. Some of us went much further. Much, much further." The space around the refugee fleet began to ripple like water. One by one, new ships appeared. But these ships looked nothing like the refugees' vessels. They were sleek and strange, with designs that hurt to look at directly. They seemed to exist, only partially in normal space. "How many ships?" Hyan-Wu asked quietly. Taeho's hands shook as he worked his controls. I can't get an accurate count, sir. The sensors keep giving different numbers. It's like the ships are there and not there at the same time." "Admiral," So-Min said from the communication screen, "I'm going to give you one chance. Take your fleet and leave. Forget you saw us. Forget we exist. Go back to your empire and tell them that this sector is off limits." Hyan-Wu stared at the impossible ships surrounding his fleet. He had conquered worlds. He had destroyed entire civilizations. He had never felt fear during a space battle. But now, for the first time in his military career, Admiral Hyan-Wu felt very, very afraid. Admiral Hyan-Wu tried to understand what he was seeing. The mysterious ships around his fleet looked like nothing in the Empire's records. Some were long and thin like needles. Others were round like bubbles. A few seemed to change shape as he watched them. "Sir, I'm getting a communication request from the lead vessel," said his communication officer. "Put it on screen," Hyan-Wu ordered. The image of Captain So-Min disappeared. A new face appeared on the main screen. It was a human man with calm eyes and strange markings on his uniform. Behind him, the bridge looked impossible. The walls seemed to glow with soft light, and crew members were working at stations that floated in the air. "Admiral Hyan-Wu," the man said politely. "I am Commander Dong-Hyun of the vessel synthesis. Captain So-Min tells me you have questions about our technology." "What are you?" Hyan-Wu demanded. "Those ships. They're not human technology. Our databases contain information about every known species in the galaxy." Dong-Hyun smiled sadly. "Your databases are incomplete, Admiral. When your empire destroyed Earth, most humans fled to the outer rim. But some of us chose a different path. We went beyond the edge of the galaxy itself." "That's impossible," Hyan-Wu said. "Nothing exists beyond the galactic edge. It's empty space." "No, Admiral, it's not empty. There are very old civilizations out there. Species that left our galaxy millions of years ago. They've been waiting, watching, learning things that your empire could never imagine." A new person appeared on the communication screen. It was a human woman with kind eyes and silver hair. "Admiral, I am Dr. Yu Jin. I was the first human to make contact with these ancient civilizations. May I show you something?" Before Hyan-Wu could answer, Dr. Yu Jin held up her hand. Her fingers began to glow with soft blue light. As he watched, a small cut on her hand healed completely in seconds. "How is that possible?" Lieutenant Taeho whispered. "The beings beyond the galactic edge taught us many things," Dr. Yu Jin explained. "They showed us how to work with matter and energy in ways your empire has never discovered. But more importantly, they taught us the synthesis protocol." "What is that?" Hyan-Wu asked. Commander Dong-Hyun answered. "Your empire conquers other species and takes their technology. The synthesis protocol is different. Instead of taking, we learn. Instead of conquering, we cooperate. The species beyond the galactic edge shared their knowledge freely because we approached them with respect. On the bridge of the Synthesis, a crew member stepped into view. It was a human woman named Yun-Bi, but parts of her body were clearly mechanical. Strange silver lines ran along her arms, and her eyes glowed with soft light. "This is Navigator Yun-Bi," Dong-hyun said. She volunteered to be enhanced with technology from 7 different species. Each enhancement was a gift given freely by beings who wanted to help humanity grow. "You're all insane," Hyun-woo said, but his voice was shaking. "You've turned yourselves into monsters." "Have we?" Dr. Yujin asked gently. She gestured to something off-screen. "Yun-Bi, please demonstrate." Navigator Yun-Bi closed her glowing eyes for a moment. Suddenly, the space around the Synthesis began to change. Reality seemed to bend and twist. For a brief moment, Hyun-woo could see through the ship's hull as if it was made of glass. He could see stars that weren't there before, colors that had no names. "She can see into 17 different dimensions," Dr. Yujin explained. "The navigation technology comes from a species that evolved in folded space. They never learned to travel through normal space because they never needed to." "This is impossible," Hyun-woo said again, but he was no longer sure of anything. "Your science is limited by your empire's approach," Commander Dong-hyun said. "You conquer and destroy. You never stop to learn. The universe is full of wonders that your empire will never discover because you're too busy fighting." Suddenly, new alarms began ringing on the Sovereign's wrath. "Sir," called Tae-ho, "Imperial Fleet Admiral Min-ho is arriving with reinforcements. 60 ships, including 3 dreadnoughts." Hyun-woo felt relief flood through him. Admiral Min-ho was one of the Empire's best commanders. 60 ships would be more than enough to deal with these strange humans, no matter what technology they had. "Commander Dong-hyun," Hyun-woo said with renewed confidence, "you're about to meet the full power of the Imperial Fleet. I suggest you surrender now." "Admiral," Dong-hyun replied sadly, "you still don't understand. This isn't about military power. Your reinforcements won't help you." The Imperial reinforcement fleet arrived in a flash of bright light. Admiral Min-ho's flagship, the Empire's Hammer, was twice the size of Hyun-woo's ship. The other 59 ships spread out in perfect battle formation. "This is Fleet Admiral Min-ho," came a new voice over the communication system. "All human vessels, you are surrounded. Surrender immediately or face destruction." Commander Dong-hyun sighed. "Dr. Yujin, please contact the other ships. It's time to reveal the truth." "Other ships?" Hyun-woo asked. "Admiral," Dr. Yujin said, "the Synthesis is not just one ship. It's a mobile embassy. We represent 43 different species that your empire has never encountered. Species that exist in dimensions your science doesn't know about. Species that learned to transcend the physical universe millions of years ago." The space around the human refugee fleet began to shimmer. More ships appeared, but these were even stranger than the first group. Some ships looked like they were made of pure light. Others seemed to be constructed from crystallized time itself. One ship appeared to be a living creature the size of a moon. 60 ships, Navigator Yun-Bi said softly. "How quaint." "Lieutenant." Tae-ho was staring at his instruments in horror. "Sir, I'm counting. I can't count them. Every time I try to count, the number changes. There are hundreds, maybe thousands. They're not all in our dimension." Commander Dong-hyun looked directly at Admiral Hyun-woo. "Admiral, your empire is about to learn that conquering the galaxy was the easy part. The real universe is much, much bigger than anything you ever imagined." Fleet Admiral Min-ho stared at the strange ships surrounding his fleet. In 40 years of military service, he had never seen anything like them. Some ships looked solid one moment and transparent the next. Others seemed to exist in several places. At the same time, "Analysis report," Min-ho ordered his tactical officer. Captain Jun Seo was sweating as he worked his controls. "Sir, I can't get reliable readings on any of these vessels. Our targeting computers can't lock onto them. It's like they're not completely in our reality." "That's impossible. Everything in this universe follows the same physical laws. Sir, I don't think these ships are from this universe. On the communication screen, Commander Dong Hyun was still talking to Admiral Hyun Woo. Your empire believes that military strength is everything. You've conquered hundreds of species because you had better weapons and stronger ships. But what happens when you meet a civilization that doesn't follow your rules? We have 60 of the most advanced warships in the galaxy, Minho announced over the communication channel. Whatever technology you have, we outnumber you. A new voice answered him. It was a human woman who introduced herself as Admiral Subin. She appeared to be speaking from a ship that looked like it was made of flowing water. Fleet Admiral Min Ho, Subin said calmly. Let me demonstrate something for you. Ha-Yun, please show them what we've learned. A small fighter ship detached from one of the strange vessels. It was piloted by a young human woman named Ha-Yun. The fighter was tiny compared to the massive Imperial ships, no bigger than a shuttle. One fighter, Minho said with contempt. Watch this. He turned to his weapons officer. Target that fighter and destroy it. Yes, sir. The weapons officer locked onto Ha-Yun's fighter and fired. Bright energy beams shot across space toward the small ship. The beams passed right through the fighter as if it wasn't there. What? Minho demanded. How is that possible? Ha-Yun's voice came over the communication system. Your weapons can only hit things that exist completely in normal space. Right now, I'm only half here. As they watched, the fighter began to move in ways that made no sense. It turned without slowing down. It moved sideways without changing direction. Then it did something that made every Imperial officer gasp in shock. The fighter moved faster than light without entering hyperspace. Sir, Captain Junseo said in a shaking voice, that ship just traveled from one side of our fleet to the other in less than a second. It didn't use hyperspace. It didn't use any drive system we understand. How fast can it go? Minho asked. I don't know, sir. The speed isn't showing up on our instruments because it's not using normal movement. It's like the pilot is folding space itself. Ha-Yun's fighter danced around the Imperial fleet. It moved through solid ships as if they were empty space. It appeared and disappeared at will. Sometimes there seemed to be 10 fighters instead of one. This is just one small fighter, Admiral Subin said. Ha-Yun is using technology given to us by a species that never learned about the speed of light limit. They evolved in a dimension where distance has no meaning. Engineer Wu Jin on Minho's flagship was frantically studying the readings. Sir, according to our sensors, that fighter exists in at least 6 different dimensions at the same time. The pilot is somehow controlling which dimension she's most present in. That's scientifically impossible, Minho said. Sir, Wu Jin replied, our science is apparently incomplete. Commander Dong Hyun's image appeared on the main screen again. Fleet Admiral, your empire has conquered hundreds of species, but all of those species evolved in this galaxy. They all developed under the same physical laws. The beings we met beyond the galactic edge evolved under completely different conditions. Dr. Yu Jin joined the conversation. Some species evolved in dimensions, where time moves backward. Others developed in spaces where matter and energy are the same thing. There's a civilization that exists only as pure mathematics. They don't have physical bodies at all. And you learned from all of them, Admiral Hyun Woo said. He was beginning to understand how outmatched his empire was. We didn't just learn from them, Admiral Subin said. We combined their knowledge. Your empire takes technology from conquered species and uses it. We took knowledge from willing teachers and improved it. Hyun's fighter suddenly appeared directly in front of Minho's flagship. It was so close that it should have crashed into the bridge. Instead, it was somehow occupying the same space as the Imperial ship without touching it. Hello, Ha-Eun said cheerfully. I'm currently inside your ship's hull, but don't worry. I'm mostly in the 7th dimension right now, so I can't damage anything. Captain Junseo was staring at his instruments. Sir, she's right. The fighter is occupying the same space as our ship, but it's not touching our matter. It's like they exist on different layers of reality. The species that taught us this technology, Ha Yun explained, never understood why other beings worry about solid objects. To them, matter is just slow-moving energy. They can move through anything by adjusting their relationship to physical reality. More fighters appeared around the Imperial fleet. Each one moved in impossible ways. Some were flying backward through time. Others were existing in multiple places simultaneously. One fighter appeared to be moving through the inside of Imperial ships, completely ignoring armor and shields. 60 ships, Admiral Subin said sadly. Your Empire sent 60 ships to capture 7 refugee vessels. You brought enough firepower to destroy a solar system. But none of your weapons can touch us because we're not fighting in the same reality. You are. Engineer Wu Jin looked up from his instruments. Sir, I'm reading energy signatures from technologies that shouldn't exist. Some of these ships are powered by controlled black holes. Others are using energy sources that our computers identify as temporal paradoxes. One ship appears to be powered by pure mathematics. Fleet Admiral Minho realized that everything he understood about warfare was useless. The Empire's entire military doctrine was based on having superior technology and overwhelming force. But what happened when the enemy could simply ignore your weapons and move through your defenses? What do you want? Minho asked finally. Commander Dong Hyun answered. We want you to understand that the universe is much bigger and stranger than your empire ever imagined. You've spent so much time conquering this galaxy that you never learned what exists beyond it. And now, Admiral Subin added, it's time for your empire to decide. Do you want to keep fighting wars you can't win? Or do you want to learn what we've learned? The Imperial fleet sat helpless, surrounded by ships that existed in impossible ways, piloted by humans who had transcended everything the Empire thought it knew about reality. Emperor Kyungmin sat on his throne in the Imperial Palace. The golden walls around him had witnessed the conquest of 1,000 worlds. But today, the reports coming from the Outer Rim made no sense. Read the report again, he commanded General Seong Ho. The general cleared his throat nervously. Your Majesty, Fleet Admiral Minho reports that human refugees have developed impossible technology. His 60-ship battle group cannot engage the enemy because the enemy ships exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. That's ridiculous, Emperor Kyungmin said. Bring me Admiral Hyejin's report. Admiral Hyejin appeared on the communication screen. She was aboard her flagship, but the background behind her looked wrong. The walls seemed to flow like water, and the ceiling showed stars that moved in patterns that hurt to look at. Your Majesty, Hyejin said, I am Admiral Hyejin of the Human Synthesis Fleet. I wanted to speak with you directly. You're human, the Emperor said with surprise, but you're on a ship that my reports say is impossible. Your Majesty, my ship exists in 17 dimensions at the same time. Right now, you're looking at me through normal space, but I'm also having this conversation in 6 other realities. In one of those realities, this war never happened. In another, your empire and humanity are already working together. General Seong Ho stepped forward. Your Majesty, our intelligence reports suggest that these humans have somehow allied with species from outside the galaxy. Species with technology beyond our understanding. On the screen, Admiral Hyejin nodded. General Seong Ho is partially correct. We didn't ally with them. We learned from them. There's a difference. A new figure appeared on the screen next to Hyejin. It was a human man with gentle eyes named Young Su. Your Majesty, Young Su said, I am a researcher. Before Earth fell, I was studying theoretical physics. The beings beyond the galactic edge taught me about something called convergence theory. Explain, the Emperor demanded. Your empire believes that reality has fixed rules. Matter behaves one way, energy another way, time moves forward, space has 3 dimensions. But these are just local conditions in our small part of the universe. Young Su gestured, and the space behind him seemed to open up. The Emperor could see through the ship's hull into a vast space filled with impossible geometries. The beings who taught us this technology evolved where reality works differently. Some developed in spaces where time has 12 dimensions. Others evolved where matter and thought are the same thing. When they shared their knowledge with us, we didn't just copy it. We improved it. How? General Seong Ho asked. Human creativity, Admiral Hyejin answered. The ancient species are incredibly advanced, but they think in patterns that developed over millions of years. Humans are young and chaotic. We ask questions they never thought to ask. We combine technologies in ways they never considered. Emperor Kyungmin frowned. What do you mean? Young Su smiled. For example, one species could manipulate time but only in straight lines. Another species could fold space but only in 2 dimensions. We figured out how to combine both technologies. Now we can fold time through 7-dimensional space. That's impossible, General Seong Ho said. Your Majesty, Admiral Hyejin said seriously, you're receiving reports from all over the Empire. Similar fleets are appearing in dozens of sectors. Would you like to know why? The Emperor's face went pale. There are more of you? Your Majesty, when Earth fell, millions of humans escaped. Your empire only tracked the ones who fled to the outer rim, but hundreds of thousands of us went beyond the galactic edge. We've spent 6 months learning from 43 different ancient civilizations. 43, the Emperor whispered. Young Su nodded. Each one taught us something new. The geometric builders showed us how to construct matter from pure mathematics. The time weavers taught us to move backward through causality. The probability gardeners showed us how to exist in multiple realities simultaneously. But the most important thing they taught us, Admiral Hyejin said, was why they left this galaxy in the first place. Why? Emperor Kyungmin asked. Because civilizations like your empire always develop here, species that conquer and destroy instead of learn and grow. The ancient ones got tired of watching young civilizations make the same mistakes over and over again. General Seong Ho was studying, reports on his tablet. Your Majesty, our tactical analysis suggests that even our entire fleet couldn't defeat one of these ships. They can't be targeted, they ignore our weapons, and they move in ways that break the laws of physics. How many ships do you have? The Emperor asked Admiral Hyejin. Your Majesty, that's the wrong question. It's not about how many ships we have. It's about what those ships can do. On the screen, Admiral Hyejin gestured to someone off camera. Suddenly, the view expanded to show the space around her flagship. The Emperor could see hundreds of impossible vessels, each one different from the others. This ship can exist in 17 dimensions. That one can move through time. The crystalline vessel over there can convert matter directly into thought. The living ship beyond it can reshape reality just by thinking about it. Young Su pointed to a ship that looked like it was made of pure light. That vessel contains an entire civilization. Not just the crew, the entire species exists inside a pocket dimension within the ship. They're helping us learn to miniaturize infinity. Your Majesty, Admiral Hyejin said, we could destroy your empire easily. We could make your fleet disappear by shifting it into a dimension where matter doesn't exist. We could travel back in time and prevent your empire from ever forming. We could simply think your capital planet out of existence. Emperor Kyungmin felt terror for the first time in his life. What do you want? We want you to choose, Admiral Hyejin said. You can keep trying to rule through conquest and force. You can keep fighting wars against civilizations that are moving beyond your understanding. Or you can learn to grow. What does that mean? Young Su answered. It means stopping the conquest. It means learning to work with other species instead of ruling them. It means discovering that cooperation can take you places that domination never could. And if we refuse? General Seong Ho asked. Admiral Hyejin looked sad. Then your empire will become irrelevant. While you're fighting over planets and resources, the rest of the galaxy will be learning to transcend physical reality. In 100 years, your empire will be like children playing with sticks while the adults explore the infinite universe. Emperor Kyungmin realized that everything he had built, everything his empire represented, was suddenly obsolete. The humans hadn't just survived their defeat. They had evolved beyond anything he could imagine. And now they were offering his empire the same choice: evolve or be left behind. 3 months later, Empress Regent Ji Young stood in what used to be the Imperial War Room. The maps of conquered territories had been replaced with star charts, showing something much more exciting: the locations of ancient civilizations beyond the Galactic Edge. Ji Young was Emperor Kyungmin's daughter, but she represented a new way of thinking. When her father had suffered a heart attack from the stress of learning how small his empire really was, she had taken power with a different vision. "Ambassador Inho," she said to the human diplomat across from her, "explain the galactic synthesis proposal again." Ambassador Inho was a calm man with intelligent eyes. He had once been a refugee fleeing the destruction of Earth. Now he represented a coalition of species that the Empire was still trying to understand. "Empress, the proposal is simple," Inho said. "Instead of the Empire conquering species and taking their technology, we share knowledge freely. Every species contributes what they do best. Every species learns from what others offer. And the humans would help us contact these ancient civilizations?" "More than that," Inho replied. "We would teach you how to learn from them the way we did, with respect, patience, and genuine curiosity instead of the desire to conquer." Across the room, Admiral Boram was studying holographic displays of the new ships. She had been the first Caltharian officer to volunteer for the joint program. Now she commanded a vessel that was half Caltharian design and half impossible human. "Technology. Empress," Boram said, "I've been working with human crews for 2 months. Their approach to everything is completely different from ours. Where we see problems to solve through force, they see puzzles to solve through understanding." "Show me," Ji Young requested. Boram activated a holographic display. It showed a ship that looked like it had been grown rather than built. Parts of it were solid metal in the Caltharian style. Other parts flowed like liquid or glowed with soft light. "This is my ship, the Harmony," Boram explained. "The human engineers didn't replace our technology. They showed us how to combine it with technologies from 7 different species. The result is something neither culture could have created alone." Dr. Chang Wu, the Empire's chief scientist, looked up from his research station. "Empress, the human scientists have been teaching me things that rewrite everything we thought we knew about physics. Yesterday, they showed me how to create matter from pure mathematics. Today they're teaching me how to fold time. Is it dangerous?" Ji Young asked. Chang Wu shook his head in wonder. "That's what's remarkable. The humans learned these technologies not through conquest or theft, but through friendship and cooperation. The ancient species shared their knowledge freely because the humans approached them with respect." Ambassador Inho nodded. "The beings beyond the galactic edge have been waiting for millions of years for young civilizations to mature enough to learn from them. Most species either destroy themselves before they're ready, or they become conquering empires that the ancients avoid." "But humanity was different?" Ji Young asked. "Humanity was desperate," Inho admitted. "When Earth fell, we had nothing left to lose. We couldn't conquer anyone because we had no fleet. We couldn't threaten anyone because we were refugees. All we could do was ask for help and offer friendship, and that worked." "Empress, it worked better than we ever imagined. The ancient species had been alone for so long that they were hungry for new perspectives. When we asked them to teach us instead of demanding they serve us, they were overjoyed." Admiral Boram activated another display. "Empress, may I show you something wonderful?" The hologram changed to show a space station. But this wasn't like any Imperial station. It seemed to be alive, growing and changing as they watched. Different sections were clearly built by different species, but they all flowed together perfectly. This is Deep Learning Station, Boram explained. It exists in normal space, but it also extends into 12 other dimensions. Caltharian children are learning next to human children, next to young beings from species we never knew existed. What are they learning? Ji Young asked. Dr. Chang Wu answered. Everything, Empress. Mathematics that exist in 7 dimensions. Art forms that use time as a medium. Sciences that treat matter and consciousness as the same thing. The children don't just learn facts. They learn to think in ways that expand the possibilities of what life can become. Ambassador Inho smiled. Empress, your empire spent 1,000 years conquering this galaxy. But the galaxy is tiny compared to what exists beyond it. There are civilizations out there that have transcended physical reality entirely. There are species that exist as pure mathematics, as living music, as conscious time itself. And they're willing to teach us? Ji Young asked. If we approach them as students instead of conquerors, if we offer friendship instead of threats, if we come to learn instead of to take. Admiral Boram brought up one final image. It showed children playing in a space that looked impossible. They were floating in the air, some of them partially transparent, others glowing with soft light. Human children and Caltharian children were working together on projects that seemed to bend reality around them. Empress, Boram said softly, these children are learning to think in ways that neither humans nor Caltharians could manage alone. They're solving problems that would have taken our species centuries to understand, and they're doing it through play and cooperation. How many species have joined the synthesis? Ji Young asked. 73 and growing, Ambassador Inho replied. Every month, more species choose cooperation over conquest. The ancient civilizations are starting to return to our galaxy because they see that we're finally ready to learn from them. Dr. Chang Wu looked up from his work. Empress, I've been studying reports from across the galaxy. Dozens of civilizations are abandoning war-based models and joining the synthesis. The species that don't join are finding themselves increasingly alone and irrelevant. What about the military? Ji Young asked. What happens to our fleets? Admiral Boram smiled. We're still exploring space, Empress. But instead of looking for worlds to conquer, we're looking for knowledge to discover. Instead of carrying weapons, our ships carry teachers and students. Instead of inspiring fear, we're inspiring wonder. Ambassador Inho stood up. Empress, I have one final thing to show you. The room around them began to change. The walls became transparent, showing not just the space outside, but other dimensions, other realities. Ji Young could see ships that existed as pure light, civilizations that lived inside folded time, beings that had transcended physical form entirely. This is the universe as it really is, Inho said. Not just the small part that your empire conquered, but the infinite reality that exists beyond it. Every species in the synthesis gets to explore this. Every child gets to grow up knowing that the universe is full of infinite possibilities. Empress Regent Ji Young looked at the impossible vista around her. Her father's empire had conquered a galaxy, but these humans and their allies had discovered infinity itself. Ambassador Inho, she said, the Caltharian Empire officially requests to join the galactic synthesis. As she spoke, space around the imperial capital began to shimmer. New ships appeared, but they came as teachers, not conquerors. Ancient beings emerged from dimensions that had no names, ready to share knowledge with a young civilization that had finally learned the most important lesson in the universe. Conquest was easy. Cooperation was infinite.